My name is Mike Nace, and I'm the editor-in-chief at UNIEA.com. Welcome to the first edition of UNIEA's Burning Issue. It's a weekly column that I put together on YouTube to discuss and explore some of the rumors floating around in the tech rumor mill. And this week's edition of the Burning Issue looks at the low-cost iPhone. And I have three questions that I'm looking to really get to the bottom of. Number one, is the low-cost iPhone a reality? Are we really going to see it? And if we see it, what's it going to look like? How is it going to be different from the current iPhone? And also, what's the point of the low-cost iPhone? Why is Apple making it, especially after so many years under Steve Jobs trying to avoid making inexpensive, value-priced products? It's a real change in ideology for Apple. So let's get right into it by looking at some of the articles that we've written at UNIEA.com by some of our writing staff. The first deals with when the supposed low-cost iPhone is going to be released. And the most recent thing that we've been writing about is that it's supposedly supposed to come out before the iPhone 5S. This was an article that was put together by Anna Tan, and it looks at some of the rumors suggesting that the low-cost iPhone's release is close at hand. And yet, there's really not a whole lot of evidence to support the idea that it has been in production. Normally, once the iPhone goes into production, we get a lot of pictures and reports out of Asia. We really haven't seen that. The only thing that I've come across very lately is from Brighthand suggesting that production isn't supposed to begin for the low-cost iPhone until July. Well, this is strange because if it's not going to begin until July, when is it going to be released? August is a terrible month to release products, and by the time we get into September, now we're talking about when the iPhone 5S might be released. So it's starting to seem a little strange to me that we haven't seen more evidence of a low-cost iPhone production going on right now. In fact, the only kind of rumors we've gotten about iPhone production for this year has been for the 5S. This was an article that was put together recently by Tim Bossi for UNIEA that shows that there's photos of the iPhone 5S on the assembly lines. Is it possible that maybe the production for the iPhone 5S and the low-cost iPhone are kind of mixed together and they're going to be, hard to differentiate? That might be the case, but these pictures certainly don't look like a low-cost iPhone. So with that in mind, it still remains to be seen if we really are going to see the low-cost iPhone. However, it's not stopping the rest of the industry from really pushing it as a reality. As you can see, this is an article that we put together at the beginning of June from a photo that our writer Karis Cruz came upon, and she looked into whether or not this could actually be the low-cost iPhone. At first glance, it kind of looks like what people have described it as, which has this sort of plastic unibody construction, which would be one of the ways that Apple would keep the prices down. But really, as people looked closer at the case, they kind of determined that this was probably just mocked up from an iPhone 5. So we really haven't had a definitive look at it, but it really hasn't stopped the media from trying to imagine how it might look compared to the iPhone 5S. This obviously is a picture from Apple Insider that shows them side by side. And you can see that the real difference is in the chassis and in the kind of design materials. With the 5S, it has Gorilla Glass and it has aluminum for its back, and it looks like this iPhone Lite or low-cost iPhone might end up just being made entirely of plastic. It has not stopped also the consumer electronics accessories market, who are already trying to design cases for it. Personally, I don't know how you design a case for a product that doesn't yet exist. But these are probably just, prototypes, kind of scratch pad ideas that you're seeing around the net right now. This was actually found by Anna as well. So it's interesting to see how other case designers are trying to anticipate its shape and its specifications, but nobody really knows at this point. Now here's my last question. Why? Why is Apple, after all these years, going to make a low-cost iPhone? I should tell you that the rumor of the low-cost iPhone is not new. It's actually been around since 2010, when a lot of people believed that Apple was going to try to create a very inexpensive iPhone to be sold in developing countries. But that really never panned out. In fact, Apple has never been known to create products that are ultra affordable. Even their price-leading iPad, when it first came out, it was one of the best priced tablets on the market, but it was still expensive. They don't make cheap products. They don't make value-priced products. So why the change all of a sudden? Nobody really has the answer for that. And it's worth pointing out that this low-cost iPhone may not actually be the kind of cheap iPhone that you could buy in a drugstore. In fact, this article from Joni Mitchell points out that it could, really become more expensive than many other smartphones that are on the market right now. An analyst even predicts it could be $400, according to this article that Anna put together on the low-cost iPhone. So, really, what's the point? What the point could be is very simply that Apple wants to create a contract-free iPhone, maybe that people can prepay so that they don't have to, have good credit or get hooked up with, a carrier in terms of a really long contract. Maybe Apple sees this way of getting people to buy iPhones more frequently. They can start releasing them every year or every half year, and people won't have to make a decision based on their contract with their carrier. But other than that, it's kind of hard to understand why they're doing this. And in the end, the whole idea of the low-cost iPhone could cannibalize sales of the current iPhone 5 or iPhone 5S, much in the same way that the iPad mini has cannibalized sales of the regular iPad. So it's something to consider. I guess we'll have to keep our eyes open over the next couple of months to see if the low-cost iPhone really becomes a reality, and if it does, if it's really worth it to consumers. Again, thanks so much for taking the time. I hope you will check out UNIEA.com. We are designers of cases for the iPhone. We have a really wide range of models for the iPhone 5, iPhone 4 and 4S, and a ton of other gadgets as well. So we hope that you'll stop by. Thanks again and have a great day.